If you're studying to be a software engineer and you want to know what the interview process is like, or if you're just curious, this video is for you. In this video, I want to go from the start to finish of the software engineer interview. If you don't know much about it, if you want an overview of the entire process, watch till the end. A little bit about me. I've given hundreds of interviews at a fast-paced startup and currently work at a FANG company. I've gone from startup interviews through FANG interviews, so I'm very familiar with the process. And so I hope to give insight and tips into the process. Give this video a like if this is something that you want more of. The first part of the process is the application. A company is out there, is hiring for roles, and they need engineers. How do they find out about you? Well, there's a couple ways to do that. One of the most common is you send an application to a company. This could be in the form of a resume that you made on your own, or it could be in the form of an online form that you fill out and just enter basic information, work history, why you think you would be good for the job, why you want to work for the employer, and then you hit submit. There's pros and cons to the different ways to apply to a company. I won't cover those in this, but I'll just say that applying online to some random company is usually not the most effective way to get a job. After the application is sent, then there's a response. Now, usually, if you fill out an online form type application, you'll get a thanks for your submission confirmation screen. But what I'm more referring to is a response that you might get, which is not always the case, and that is we'd like to talk to you more response, or a sorry you're not a good fit right now, or the position is filled. Now, these types of responses are optional, unfortunately, so if you do send out 100 applications, maybe you'll get 10 responses or something like that. People have different experiences with this, so just be aware you might not always get a response. But if you make it past the application step, you'll get moved on to the recruiter reach out step. A recruiter will send you a message, maybe on LinkedIn, or send you an email trying to set up a time for a phone screen. A recruiter will vet you to see if you actually are an engineer, that you know certain buzzwords, that you can communicate. They'll screen for potential fit of company culture. This part of the process is usually not very complex. They're not looking for too much technical knowledge. The recruiter usually themselves isn't super technical. They might do something like see that you have experience on your application as a JavaScript engineer and then try to fit you in a role that is a heavy Java role, because they might not know the difference that Java and JavaScript are completely different languages. So just be aware. I've had recruiters reach out to me with this before, so it could happen to you. But this is usually a low stress phone call. They might gauge your experience with HTML and CSS and JavaScript if it's a front-end role, or they might gauge your experience with iOS or Kotlin or Swift or one of these kind of buzzwordy technologies. They may ask you about a project. After this step, oftentimes you'll actually get a response in that phone call saying, I think I'm going to set up a time to have a technical screen. They might tell you on the phone that they don't think that this role is the best fit for you, or this company, for example, given on some of the conversation that you've had. But they may also send an email response or a follow-up saying, thanks for the time. You're not exactly what they're looking for at this time, but let's keep the communication line open. That's also really common. If they want to move forward with you, then they'll schedule what's called the technical phone screen. The technical phone screen is your first kind of step of like, okay, I'm going to have to code, I'm going to have to answer technical questions, and you want to be prepared. So make sure that you're as prepared as you can be, studying the technologies that you've applied to the job for, studying the technologies that you're comfortable with. Be really comfortable in your coding language, because you're definitely going to be asked to code in this session. Depending on the role, you might be asked for system design or something like that, but that's a little bit less common. Usually this is like a LeetCode style problem. Usually one or two mediums, depending on the type of company that you're applying to. So be prepared to answer, an easy to medium level question. It also depends on the role. If you're applying to a junior role or like a regular SDE role versus like a senior role, the expectation kind of shifts a bit as you go up. So just be aware. Once you complete the technical screen, this is usually about 30 to 60 minutes long. The interviewer will usually offer a time for you to ask them questions. Have some questions prepared. Definitely a good opportunity to ask an engineer at the company that you're applying for, anything that you're interested in. So have a few prepared and be ready for that. You will not get an answer usually at all in this. You might feel how well you did, but usually this will come later from the recruiter as a follow-up. You'll get a response and it'll be either, we want to move forward with you, we've declined, or occasionally we'd like to have you try out this or answer this question. If you were fortunate enough to pass the technical screen, then you'll be invited to what's called an onsite. Now, in our remote work world that we've been in since post-COVID, an onsite doesn't technically mean an onsite anymore. There's two types of onsites. There's an actual physical onsite, and there's a remote onsite. And usually this is 4 or 5 one-hour sessions. This is the big kahuna, right? This is the one that you want to be well prepared for, well rested for. You'll be asked at least 2 or 3 sessions worth of technical questions. Usually one of the sessions will be behavioral, culture fit, things like that. And one of them is kind of a toss-up. Once you've done this exhausting day, and this could be on-site, it could be whiteboarding physically on a whiteboard in a room. Maybe they take you out to lunch. Or it could be remote and digital, and you'd have a break for lunch, usually because 5 one-hour sessions is quite long. Once you've gone through this process, you usually won't hear back at all, just like the technical screen, until a few days later. And then the recruiter will get back to you with a response. Very similar to technical screen, you could be given an offer. So this would be, they thought you did well, and they want to give you an offer. The second would be a decline, right? Like, thanks for your time. Thanks for going through, all this time to interview with us at our company. We really appreciate it. We don't think you're the best fit. Oftentimes, they won't give you very much feedback, but I do recommend asking for feedback because they might give you something that's helpful. The third is maybe they want something else, a little bit more from you. Maybe they saw potential, but like there were some red flags, and so they want to clarify. This is not as common, but they may ask you to come and do another session again or online. They might ask you to do a different question, or they might ask you to shift. We saw you were interviewing as a front engineer, but you seem like you have a lot more experience in backend. Would you do this session after we've reviewed? A lot of our stuff was tailored more to front end, and we'd like to ask you a little more backend specific stuff to clarify your experience level before we go to an offer stage. That's really cool if you get that, but it is very rare. If you are fortunate enough to pass the onsite, then you move on to the offer. Now, the offer usually isn't the first thing you get in an email. Occasionally it could be, but usually they try to get you on the phone with the recruiter. I'll probably do a whole different video on negotiations and talking to a recruiter. If you're interested, let me know in the comments. The recruiter email will usually be like, hey, congratulations, the team really liked you. They want to move to an offer. That will take a few days. You can expect to have a follow-up where we'll send you a formal offer in the next few days or a week. And so as you're waiting for that, definitely be applying to other companies still, trying to interview, because that can help you. And we'll talk about that more in detail in negotiation video. But definitely be cross-applying. Try to do your best. Get as many offers as you can at the same time is really a great strategy to have if you're fortunate enough to be able to line up your interviews. And take a break. You just did an onsite and it was exhausting. Get some good food, relax, watch a movie, chill out. Because now, once you move into the offer stage, you have 3 options. So you finally get the offer. They give you an offer. I'll preface this by saying recruiters are usually going to try to get some sort of baseline from you. Just don't give them any salary numbers. Even at the beginning, they might ask you, don't give them any numbers. Say you want to think about it. I'll go in more detail in a negotiation video, but my first tip is just don't give any numbers. So let's say you get an offer by email now. You have 3 options, right? You can accept the offer. Okay, that's a great offer, I accept. You can decline the offer. You can say, sorry, I'm not interested. I don't really like that team, and I don't want to go with the company. I don't like the product, or I got another offer, so I'm going to accept that instead. Or you can negotiate. And negotiate is simply saying, I'm really excited that you've given me an offer. I'm excited about the team, the company, but X, Y, Z. But I need, or I expect, or fill in the blank. I'll go quickly into the negotiation process here just to illustrate, but basically you respond to them with some information, some numbers, whatever it is. They respond back. You potentially can respond to them again. They respond back. And at some point, you either accept or decline based on the negotiation process as well. Don't want to go too much into the negotiation piece, but it is an option, and I just want to put that out there. If you get an offer, negotiation is one of the 3 options you can have. So now let's fast forward. You've accepted whatever the offer is. Congratulations, you've got a job. Now you need to figure out, are you moving to be closer to your job? Are you able to commute? Or are you able to work remote? If it's remote, they will send you your computer by mail. They'll send you the technical things that you need, oftentimes a monitor, a keyboard, a laptop, things like that. If it's in person, usually that will kind of occur when you get to the job. IT will help set you up there. They'll have a computer for you, a desk, monitor, all of that. Now, oftentimes there's a background check in here. So as long as your background check is clear and nothing weird happens in those weeks leading up to you actually starting your job, congratulations, you got a new job as a software engineer. Do well, enjoy the learning process, and now you've got, a few months to ramp up to the company, their technology, their code base. A few final tips for the interview process. Number 1, relax. Have fun. Enjoy it. You want to be comfortable. You want to be yourself. Number 2, prepare. Try to over-prepare as much as you can, because the more prepared, the more you'll actually be able to relax. And number 3, don't take it too hard if you get declined, even early in the process. Keep at it, because that tenacity, that persistence is ultimately what's going to help you get that job. Keep pushing. If you like this kind of content, don't forget to subscribe and hit the bell icon to receive notifications. As always, I'll leave some helpful links in the description, and thanks for watching.